Yo ho ho, howdy, Brother Damon here, Damon Chief Jones coming at you. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Hope everything's going your way. It's going my way. Wow. Made that trip to see the doctor and the therapist, and they straightened me out, so to speak, and doing better than I was. Hey, I'd like to be better than I am, but I'm better than I was, and I'll take it. I got run over by a big truck back about 6 years ago, and it's been rough ever since then. But I keep charging on. You know, you sit still, you stagnate, and stagnate causes deterioration. Deterioration causes death, and I'm against that until it's my time. So I try and stay as active as I can. So that's what I do. Not as active as I'd want to be, but as active as I can. Hey, a lot of you have been asking me about street encounters with cops. Okay, look, there's 1,000 different answers. If I don't give the answer you like, I'm sorry. You know, it's endless. It's however far your mind can go. But for example, if a police officer did stop you, okay, and let's say he says, you know, you got a tag light out, a tail light out, a burnout headlight, muffler's too loud, music is too loud, whatever it may be. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do. One, when he comes up, you can let your window down about 2 or 3 inches and shut off your engine if you can take the heat or the cold, and do your best to communicate that away with him so that he can't see that I smell cannabis in there. Well, there's no air circulating in here, so you know that's just something you're making up. Okay. However legal the tint is on your windows in your state, I would look at getting that so that they can't see in your car in the daytime very well, and at nighttime even less. Even with a flashlight, they just can't see that good. I know, I've been there. Okay, I've been on the other side, so I know. Also, if you have eyes that are bad like mine and sunlight is very restrictive to it, then you can get a ophthalmologist. Is that how you say it, for an eye doctor? If I said it wrong, don't shoot me, okay? But anyway, you can get a certificate from an eye doctor that says your window tint can be pretty damn dark. How dark? Don't know. Remember, this is absent legal intent, legal authority. I'm without it. I'm just a retired chief of police and constable, and a man been doing this for 39 years, and I've learned a thing or two. Of course, you know, you can look at me however you want to. But I'm also a minister of the gospel, and I'm commanded by God to tell you what I know to the best of my ability. So, however you want to look at it, but I ain't no bar card lawyer, judge, and I ain't no doctor. But I do know a lot of things about medical remedies. Some people call them folk remedies. And I do know a lot of things about legal remedies, lawful remedies for the man. Okay? But, you know, with that eye certification, you can get darker tinted windows. Okay? I don't know if they can be limo tint or not. I don't know if through the front glass, if there's maybe a few specifications under your state law or the make-believe state statutes that says it can only go down 4 inches or 6 inches or however much, but however far it goes, it can be that dark. And maybe the driver's side window has to be a little bit lighter and the rest of them can be tinted out. I don't know. That's something you'll have to study in your state. But I do know that your window tint can be much darker if you got that letter from your eye doctor, if you do have that problem. I'm not saying lie. I'm just saying if you got it, you can get it. And for everybody can get it, that's a big help. Also, a medical doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist that has a license, which I don't believe in license for anything. License is a made-up government word for we're the master and we're going to give you a privilege. No, we're the man, and we were created in the image of God, and we have all our rights. And we gave you government some privileges. So don't try and turn around and talk about the source of the power, which is me. That you're going to use your privilege to come back and do something against me that has the right. Don't work that away. Okay, but I'm just saying for the average person, I know how to take care of myself, but I'm trying to help the average person, okay? I do a lot of unorthodox things I wouldn't tell you to do, but I've been in and out of this thing for nearly 40 years, so I know a lot of what I can, quote, get away with. And I don't mean get away with like I'm a bad guy. I mean get away with like I know how to twist and turn their words, use their words, use their phraseology, use their laws that compete against each other. But you know, I'm a legal theologian and a religious theologian, and I've been studying this stuff all my life in one form or another. Okay, even as a kid, I studied the Bible. Okay, from 9 years old, so I understand where the original laws come from and how these laws change. Also, another thing, but if a medical doctor, a therapist, psychiatrist says you cannot wear a seat belt, such as you've had rotator cuff surgery and it rubs your shoulder and it bothers you. Maybe you are claustrophobic and wearing that seat belt makes you feel claustrophobic. It hurts your mind. It's an invisible disability, but you're under ADA. So they can give you something that says, you know, under HIPAA, they're not going to disclose your medical condition, but that you do have a medical condition and they have RX prescribed you not to wear a seatbelt of any kind or any harness or restraining device on or about your person. Okay, and the police are going to be bound to honor that. If they're an idiot enough to try and write you a ticket, it's going to be dismissed at court because they're going to see that you're an exception to the rule. So window tinting's a big deal. Okay, cops hate window tinting because they can't see you and be so nosy. And then they're really good at looking for these seatbelt tickets because some states it's a first offense, which means you don't do nothing wrong. They just happen to see you without a seatbelt and can stop. Second or a secondary. Okay, so they got to find an equipment violation, speeding, weaving, something that gives them the first right to stop you, then the seatbelt is the second thing, okay? Some states say that if a citation is not issued, then you can't do a seatbelt ticket, so they'll do something to get to the seatbelt ticket, okay? Now, I actually know a man, and I heard him say this. He said, if I can see the police, I take off my seatbelt immediately as a self-defense mechanism, because I've seen police on video, on TV, too many times, trying to yank a man out of a vehicle or a woman out of a vehicle with a seatbelt on, and their adrenaline is pumping so hard that they have physically or mentally or both injured and damaged the man or woman by pushing and pulling on them with their gun drawn because they can't get them out of the seatbelt because the police officer's in a psychosomatic state where he's just off his cracker trying to get you out of your private automobile he calls a vehicle. So he's trying to tug you out there, and then he says you don't come out and you're not cooperative, and then you get a stun gun because he's an idiot. And you're freaking out, and you can't get the seatbelt undone. He can't get the seatbelt undone, and he's in panic mode. And if he ain't no better than that, he shouldn't be a cop. But he either tasers you or says he was reaching for something and shoots you. So if you're one of these people and they write you a ticket for no seatbelt, you might be able to honestly testify if you choose to do so in a court of law and say, I had my seatbelt on, and I always wear my seatbelt, and I had it on till I saw the police, and then I took it off, because I've seen all these police adventures where the seatbelt being on caused you to get hurt or damaged. So I had a fear of fight or flight, and it kicked in, and my adrenaline kicked in. I took off that seatbelt fast as I could, so if he stopped me, he couldn't yank me out and try and hurt me or kill me because he couldn't get the seatbelt undone and I froze up or something. That's probably a viable defense. Okay, judge would have to look at it, probably on appeals. You damn sure would probably get it. Okay, now besides that, now when the police actually stop you, then you got these abilities to where one thing is you can say, I have studied and researched, and attorneys and the Supreme Court of the United States said A man like me should not talk to the police. So based on the Supreme Court and attorneys at large in general, I'm going to heed their advice and not talk to you. And hopefully you will not convert my constitutional right into a crime and arrest me for not talking to you and say something like, you're obstructing investigation, or you're hindering me, or government operations, or whatever you come up with. You're going to try and use some state law or policy, which is down here, and the Constitution's up here, to say we're going to do this on this. No, this all falls under here. You're converting a right into a crime and trying to arrest me for it. Wrong, 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 wrong. Now you're out from under color of law, so I can sue you personally. I can sue you professionally in your police capacity. And the old thing they used to teach us in the academy, here comes vicarious liability. So now, whoever your supervisor is, and supervisor, so say you're out there and you're a new guy, well, the officer in charge above you, the sergeant, the lieutenant, the captain, the major, the lieutenant colonel, the chief of police, the sheriff, the constable, the marshal, they're all in this line of authority. They all should have made sure you was trained and did right. Then it gets over to the county commission or board of elders or whatever they call it where you are. So in your city or county, it goes through, names all of them, okay, in your entity. So now you got 8, 10, 12, 15 people that's on this lawsuit. And unless they can prove that they told you not to do this and they trained you not to do it, which they can't prove it. Almost none of them can prove it. Now me, I could, because I actually gave my officers a specific test. And if they didn't get 100 on it, then I'd let them take an open book test and retook it. And I put on there that they didn't have the answers, so they took an open book, but they still put the right answers in there so they knew. So good old chief here, I was a liability limitation. So when people wanted to come after officers, they just almost never could get my name in there. Okay, so I kind of stopped it at me, and I stopped it for the department, and so the city hung their hat on that. So people like me being around because I know how to do away with zero liability. Probably why I was never sued as a cop in almost 40 years. I just didn't do crazy stuff, okay? So that's one thing you could do. Another thing you could do is say, officer, I'm telling you on the record right now, I'm a man. I don't believe in driver's license. I don't believe in registration. I don't believe in none of this stuff. I think it's a scam. I think you're being scammed, I'm being scammed, and we're all being duped. However, for the fear of being put in jail or in a dungeon, being hurt, beat up, tore up, whatever, then I do have a thing called a driver's license. It's under duress, threat, and coercion. And I have a registration, it's the same thing. So it can't be used against me. I will produce it to you, but if you try and write a ticket on any of this stuff, it's going to be in serious trouble because I have this solely not to go to jail, not because I believe in it and not because I agree to it. It's under force. It's like a signature. You just signed this. Well, then your signature has no validity. If you didn't read it, you didn't understand it, you couldn't come to a comprehensive decision on it, okay? So these things are necessary. So you could go to that. Then on the citation, they want you to sign it. You say, no, I'm going to autograph it. And above your name, you can write the word autographed. And you can write under duress, threat, and coercion, not a signature. And go ahead and put a mark across there. It doesn't even have to be your name. You can just scribble a little mark across there and put a date in there. And when it goes to court, you can say, Your Honor, you see on there it says, not a signature, under threat, duress, and coercion. I want this dismissed because he didn't follow all the rules of policy and procedure. Also, I told him this was under threat, duress, and coercion. And when he stopped me, I asked him why he had his lights on or his lights and siren. Where was the emergency? He said there wasn't no emergency, or he was just pulling me over. So he committed a breach of the peace, and he also committed a felony stating by the lights and siren that there was a state of emergency in the area. So I yielded, and he pulled in behind me for a infraction or a minor crime. If it's a crime in your state, a minor crime or traffic infraction, which is a penance under the law, and he declared a state of emergency. Okay? Well, you can't declare a state of emergency for a penance incident or a traffic stop. So I want this on the record, because I'm going to file against him for falsely stating a state of emergency when no such thing existed. Okay? A fire where a home is on fire and burning down, we have a state of emergency in the area. If your local convenience store is being robbed at gunpoint, we have a state of emergency. If people's being raped or robbed, we have a forcible felony in progress. We have a state of emergency in the area. Okay, we get it. Lights and siren. Yield, we're responding to a state of emergency. Outside of that, no. Running these lights and siren for 1,000 different things? No. It causes anxiety and panic. Another thing you could, if the officer stops you could say, "Officer, I have an invisible disability." Under HIPAA, I'm not required to tell you what it is, but your being here, if this is true now, I'm not saying lie, your being here alone, just your presence here, is triggering my disabilities. You got lights and sirens on behind me. I don't know what you might do to me. I've seen a lot of bad things on TV. I don't know you. I want to leave. Can I leave? And he'll either say yes or no. If he says he's staying, then say, well, then I'm under arrest. Said, that's it. I see it this way. The court said if I can't go, then I'm under arrest. He's going to give you some line about, well, it's a custodial investigation. Bullcrap. Tell him, if I ain't free to go, I'm under arrest. And if you're having an attack, tell him I require immediate medical attention. My anxieties are heightened and I'm having a trigger event. Let him decide if he's going to let you go or call the ambulance or what's going on. So if he stopped you and he caused this encounter, then you should refer your hospital bills to him and the police department, because he's the one that triggered it. And over a license tag being expired, don't even have to have them registered to start with, or you're just going 10 miles over the speed limit. Okay, so he caused you a panic attack, anxiety. If you have PTSD and he's triggering it, you're just on your free movement. Looks like they're liable to me. Okay? Now I realize some people's going to lie and take advantage of this, but it's better to let 100 guys that make this false claim go than to make that one man or woman suffer and cry and break down and maybe be bedridden for days, or have to go spend money they don't have to see their doctor, or take extra medicine and ingest that into their body, or go for extra counseling and pay for that because the police triggered an event. Police cause a lot of trauma to people, okay? Not everybody, but a lot. So if police would do what they're really supposed to be doing and not doing all these traffic stops and all this traffic direction in areas and all these unconstitutional checkpoints, we're just checking for your safety. We're just checking to see if you've been drinking. So 1,000 of us come through here, and maybe you find 5 people out of that 1,000. So 995 people had their civil, inalienable, God-given rights violated, so that you could get 5 people that questionably, under your rules of licensing, might not be safe to drive. So is it all right to violate almost 1,000 people's rights to get possibly 5 people? Now, what you're trying to do, you're also looking for any warrants on people. You're looking for any wants on people. You're looking for expired tags, bad headlights. It's a 100% traffic stop through and through for every single swinging dick that comes through there under the name of public safety. Public safety is a bull crap excuse for everything. The cops want to expand their power and expand their authority, get more tools, brand new cars, brand new equipment. Do you know I operated excellent police departments and an excellent constable's office, and I went on a shoestring budget, and we got the job done. We didn't have no new toys. We didn't even have vests to wear. I got one vest one time from one department when I was a reserve officer of all things. You know, so all this, that's other stuff, and all this camo gear and all this takes 10 people to serve a warrant. That's bullcrap. Bullcrap. That's military. That's a show of force. That's threatening, intimidating. It's more likely to cause a death or an injury than not. 2 to 3 men to serve a warrant's good, okay? Yeah, you need more than one, depending on the warrant and what you're doing. And you usually have intel, so sometimes just, you know, 3 men's good. You know, you got somebody in the front, somebody in the back, and somebody monitoring. So if somebody does shoot, somebody can call for help. You know, if somebody goes to run, you got more than one of you for witnesses, or if the guy's really strong, 2 or 3 if you know, ought to be able to get him down, so forth and so on. More than 3 normally dressed officers, and I ain't saying don't wear a vest, but you know, a vest and, you know, a regular uniform and regular patrol cars, not hyped up SUVs that suck up a lot more gas, bring in a lot more pollution, and just make the police look more intimidating and more threatening to the public. Why could they not just keep using these Ford Crown Vics that they've been known for years and years, and they have places that refurbish these and bring them back to new, or get other vehicles that are similar instead of getting these SUVs. You know, they're paying $10,000 to $20,000 more for that same vehicle. Okay, the tires are bigger and wider. They're more expensive. The fuel's more expensive. Okay, so they're always going to find some little something over here they're going to hang their hat on and say, oh, well, but it's safer for the officer, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you look over all the records and all the cost and all the likelihood, it's still going to cost millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that could be used to take care of homeless people, people that are truly hungry. It could buy medicine in community for people that really can't afford their medicine. I know somebody now that it costs $2,000 a month for their insulin. They don't have it. Guess what? The man may die. He's going to die for being poor. The reasonable cost for the insulin that he takes might be $100, maybe $150. He could get that up, but he can't get up $2,000 every month. That's $24,000 a year. There's some people that don't make that in their money, and that's just for one medicine. Some of that money that they spend on these cops, they could have spent and helped that man get his medicine, you know. But that should be up to the churches and the local individual people, not down here with a gun with the IRS and whoever else with the state revenue and so stealing your money, and they decide what's going to be done with it. I guarantee if they left all my money alone over all these years, I could have helped a lot of people buy medicine, and I would have. I just didn't have it because they took my money. So, you know, I could have bought medicine. I could have bought people some gas, because some people couldn't get to work because they just didn't have gas when they were getting started off. They had a car, but they didn't even have gas to get back and forth for a week or two till they got that first paycheck. I could have done it. You know, you could have done it. A lot of people could have done it. We spend our money better than the government by a million. Okay? And even then, they're going to get their little tax revenue off of it for sales or whatever. This system we're in was made to be the freest, most transparent, most honest government overall. Yes, I know they had slavery, and yes, that's sickening. But the people that come here, the majority of people come here, their people had at one time come from Israel, or a large portion come from Israel. And the Israelites had been slaves themselves. My people that come from Israel, my family's been in slavery. Okay, I was born a free man, but I had ancestors that were slaves. I had ancestors that were Indians and run around by the white man and put on reservations and killed and stole his land. So I could be in a lot of conflict because I I've been a slave. Then I have people in my family, when I search my tree, some of my family owned slaves. So my family's been slaves and owned slaves. You know, a lot of things people don't talk about during the Civil War and prior to the Civil War, there were numerous black men that owned black slaves. They owned land and owned a lot of slaves. And they lived better than 95% of the white people. People don't like to talk about that because that's not comfortable. And there was blacks and whites mixing because they chose to mix. They wasn't forced to. And they had mixed race babies. And so a lot of times there are black people that's lighter and not guaranteed, but as a rule, that means that their family was mixed. Some of it was by rape and force, some of it was by choice. But see, some things are uncomfortable to talk about. I know about it, and it's uncomfortable, but it's still the truth. One of the biggest plantations in the entire Southeast was owned by a black man. He had more slaves than probably 80% of the white landowners in the country at the time. I forgot his name. I'll try and look it up, and I'll try and get some more information, because sure as the world I said it, somebody's going to say, prove it, prove it, prove it. You know, and I'm a guy that you know, if you don't push it, it's okay, but if you push something on me, I'll say, prove your claim. Prove it. You made a claim, prove it, okay? So I'll try and do some more research on this. And, you know, I've got a lot of black friends. I got a lot of white friends. I got a lot of brown friends, red friends. I got some yellow friends, but not a lot, because I just haven't been introduced to that many. But the ones I have met from Asia and the Orient and, you know, Indonesia and the Philippines and so forth, I've got along great. So wherever you come from in the world, chances are I've met you or somebody in your family at some time, and I've got along great with everybody. I've met people of all different faiths. You know, they were Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or whatever. I've got along with them very well almost always. Now, I have said anybody that individually, if you're radical in your religious beliefs to the point that you want to kill people and you're doing it in the name of your religion, I got nothing for you except to find some good, honest police and get you put in jail or a mental ward, wherever you have to go, okay? Killing people and raping people and stealing from people's wrong. That's the job for cops. Take care of real crimes with real victims, not victimless crimes where the state is the victim. There's no such a thing. The state can't be harmed. That's a piece of paper. A piece of paper can't be harmed. It takes a real man or woman. Anyway, I don't know what I'll title this thing, but I hope it gets me some more viewers. Whee! I lost not one, then two, then three subscribers. I was sad. I don't know what I did or didn't do, but hopefully I'll get them back and hundreds more. Spread the love, spread the word. Damon Chief Jones, I'm here for you. I try and teach the Constitution of the states and the United States. I teach about the money system. I teach about militias. I teach why these things are lawful. I teach about why things aren't lawful. Okay? And I've been in my travels today in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. I've been to 3 states today, meeting with people and talking to folks today, seeing what's going on, trying to help people out. And I've been helping people with a few documents and stuff. And then next week, I got to make a trip several states away to go to a 3-day seminar. And hopefully when I get back from that, I'll have a whole lot more information. But I'll try and turn out a few more videos between now and then. Thank you. God bless you and have a great day.